What you say, and welcome to Dude's Brunch. I'm Taylor, your host, and let's go ahead and start with Sean. Sean, what did you have for brunch today?
Black coffee and an espresso at work. That was what I had. It's been a pitiful day. It's been a bad brunch day.
Tyler, what you say? What'd you have for brunch today?
My brunch week has been pretty awful actually. I've mostly just been on repeat with the little sausage pancake corn dogs. It's been on repeat
Dude, no, I would totally do those right now.
all week.
Did you dip them? Did you dip them?
Oh yeah, and a little bit of syrup.
Mmm.
What you say?
Mm.
And I'm your host, Taylor, and for brunch today, I had a bowl of Raisin Bran and some coffee because I forgot about the time change and made the fastest breakfast I could. So,
Did you get a haircut?
I did a
I
couple
like
weeks
it.
ago. It's
Oh,
it's
I
just
never
sitting
noticed.
weird because I took a shower after I ran today.
It looks very Conan O'Brien.
Oh, well, thank you. So, jumping into the show tonight, we have three topics on the table, and we didn't even talk about who was going to go first. So, I guess
Doesn't matter.
let's go ahead and start with Tyler.
Hey,
We're going to talk about Godzilla.
absolutely.
Alright.
Okay, so my topic for this week is Godzilla. If you didn't know, Godzilla movie this past summer, and an American Godzilla movie, which is the important part. And so I linked you guys to an article, just kind of that talked about why the trailer itself was kind of misleading into what the actual movie was like, and I kind of just wanted to see how you felt about it if you watched the movie, what your experience with Godzilla movies has been, to kind of like establish what your relationship is with this movie. So, Taylor.
Yeah. So, I have not ever watched a full Godzilla movie before. That being said, I'm familiar with how they work.
Mm-hmm.
And this trailer was pretty much what I expected. I read the Medium article that accompanied it, which we'll link in the show notes. But yeah, I mean, it seems like the sort of monster movie that gets trailer trashed, where most of the good scenes are revealed by the time you've put out three trailers, and that's just kind of what it is. I had no desire to see it in theaters, and I'm not unhappy that I didn't see it.
Good. John?
I'd have to totally agree with that. I read the article and I watched the clips, and actually I did a little more research because I wanted to see. I don't know much about Godzilla. I saw the ones that came out like right around the millennium, like right around the
The
turn.
Godzilla 2000.
Yeah, and I remember those being like god awful. So I can't say that I was excited for the Lizard King to come back in 2014, but I don't know. I guess it was interesting to watch this because
Wait,
I
did you
remember
watch the whole movie? Did you watch the movie?
Yeah,
You watched the whole movie?
yeah.
Hey!
My life is boring.
All right.
Um, no, but it was okay. So in the 2000 ones, as I recall, it was kind of humanity versus Godzilla. You know, like I guess that was one thing that after I did some more research on the Japanese ones, I didn't know that there seems to be this like three-way story going on where like humans hate monsters. It's its own subplot, and then it seems that Godzilla always has a fight with other monsters. So there's always this kind of like tension between Godzilla saving humanity by fighting other monsters and Godzilla being the awfulness that destroys cities. Although, why does he always destroy cities? You know, give Iowa a shot. That's what I say. Don't. No, I mean. Okay.
Well, okay, so really, the plot line of every Godzilla movie is that Godzilla is taking a nap, and then people wake him up, or like a monster wakes him up. He just wants to sleep! That's all it is! And they like bomb him, or like nuke him, or like someone's like, hey! Or like rips his kid out of something, or like, and he's like, I just want to sleep! So that's really really the gist of any Godzilla movie is him taking a nap and then the world waking him up.
So,
But
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Add more. You probably have more interesting to say.
So Godzilla 2000 is actually something that's used in my classes in my media program. I want to get to Daniel's question in a second, but I think this is just a cool story.
Oh, there's already questions up?
Yeah.
Oh, that hype train, though.
Yeah, all that hype train. Open the Q&A bar if you haven't. Viewers, you can totally ask us questions and give us feedback live. That's why it's a live show. So Godzilla 2000, the critics watched the movie and basically told all of the producers and everything that they were going to pan it. And it wasn't doing very well with preview audiences either. And so the staff behind Godzilla 2000 in like the last 3 months of 1999, because that movie came out right around New Year's on Y2K, they just dumped thousands and thousands of dollars into ads and posters and teaser trailers on TV. And then as soon as opening weekend came around, they stopped spending money on advertising. So they built this massive word-of-mouth hype train so that everybody went to see it on the first weekend, and then it was terrible, and they didn't waste any money. And the movie broke even.
Really?
Because, yeah. It broke even.
That piece of garbage broke even?
I know.
I never want to hear movie studios say ever again, we're losing money on our films, because that was a piece of crap. I am not ashamed to say it. That is. Oh, okay. So on that topic, I don't know. I will have to find the clip and send it to you. There is, when I was watching the older clips of Godzilla through the decades since the 1950s, I want to say that this is general observation one. Godzilla in the 1950s was actually kind of intimidating and scary, you know, like, and really the only time, in my judgment, that Godzilla turned into something that was actually scary was in the 2000 movies, where he looks more like a T-Rex than he does, you know, the obese, overly cellulite thighs lizard that walks around and fights other people. Okay, but there is this hilarious scene on YouTube of Godzilla where he does this like flying chest kick to some monster. Have you seen this? It looks like WWE. It's so
it's
funny.
In the show notes.
Is it? Okay,
yeah,
good.
It's titled Godzilla Funny Haha.
That's what it is. I just like lost it when I saw that. Just like a mile of like tail dragging, pounded the chest, like Godzilla stomping stuff. So.
Right, so that's sort of like the kind of the point I was getting at. So, should we answer Daniel's question, or should we? I guess we should answer that first.
Yeah, go ahead and answer Daniel's question.
Okay, how do Godzilla movies relate to other monster movies? Example, Cloverfield or Pacific Rim? Is what? I guess I'm not sure what exactly he means.
I can kind of speak on it a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
So Godzilla is not the first monster movie, but I think it's like the quintessential monster movie. And it's definitely the franchise to reckon with. When you think monster movies, you always think Godzilla, you think Cloverfield, and things like that. Second, Pacific Rim. That was his other one in the question.
Right, those are all American monster movies.
Yeah, they're all American monster movies, and I think they're kind of riffs on the genre because they do things to really challenge the Godzilla model. So Cloverfield took the Blair Witch approach to telling a pretty basic monster movie story. Pacific Rim basically just said, we have two types of monsters, we're going to have them fight, you don't care about any of these characters.
Wait, did you guys see Pacific Rim? That's sort of my other question that was involved.
I saw a clip of it.
You saw the clip that I posted?
Yeah, I've never watched the whole thing.
Okay. Well, basically, the reason why Pacific Rim was the best like American monster movie, if we're like comparing it to like Godzilla 2014 or presumably the other Godzilla movie in the 2000 that I didn't watch, is because it took like the formula of the fights and made it all about the fights. Like they took the best part of a Godzilla movie and made it the entire movie. So sort of like the point I was trying to get you all to realize was that Pacific Rim was much better than the 2014 Godzilla movie. It's based TLDR. That's what I was trying to get out of this. Was to convince the audience that it was a much better movie.
Yeah.
And sort of like my point was that yes, the Godzilla 2014 movie was in the traditional Godzilla format, in that 3/4 of the movie is about anything but Godzilla, and then 1/4 is about Godzilla fighting. But they somehow squeezed out even more Godzilla out of Godzilla 2014. They took Godzilla's in the movie for like 20 minutes. It's like, let me just see him. Let me just see this monster. He's the best part of the whole thing is that when he like shot his laser beam into the other guy's mouth. It was the best part. End all. Done. That's all I needed to see. I could have watched that 10-minute period and left. So.
I mean, that's kind of the thing with monster movies, right? It's like they're about the monster, but you don't see the monster the entire time. And that's the part of it that I never really got. I guess that's why I'm not always super interested in monster movies.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, if you're going to make a title character, make it about the title character. Like, I want to see Godzilla. Yeah, Bryan Cranston's great. But
Walter White was in this one!
Right.
Walter White!
And then 10 minutes later, he's out of the movie, and everyone's upset.
Yeah, so you put these great actors in it sometimes, but then other times they just put horrible humans in there who are only there long enough to die.
Mm-hmm.
And I just,
That's not the point.
I don't know, it's not a format that I identify with, I guess, is the point.
There is one critique of... This is like a general critique of monster movies. And alien movies, too, kind of. I remember I was watching this show a few years back. I don't remember what it was. And the commentator was saying something along the lines of how uncreative movies are in terms of creating like monsters, because a lot of monsters are bipedal or quadrupedal, if you know what I mean. Like they all have 4 legs or 2 legs and they'll look like humans, and that there could, like that kind of shows the limited ability of people to imagine different kind of monsters that don't look like humans. So I don't know, I kept thinking about that when I was watching this, because even the other monster, what was it, Motu? And
Yeah, something like that.
in 2014, it's still, okay, so it had 4 arms and 2 legs, but like it still looked like a human, just with a weird face, like a alien-esque face.
If you weren't aware, Sean, those were people in those costumes.
Well, yeah, no, I know that, but I was. But like in the new movies, though, they use CGI.
Well,
so it's like the end of your imagination and what it turns you can do. And I realize it's a Godzilla franchise, but at the same time, like, I don't know. That's why I just wanted a general thing. Maybe call it to the viewers. Send us your creative monsters that are in films that I haven't seen, because odds are it will be all of them.
Well, I would say that.
I mean, the Cloverfield monster isn't really like human shaped. I don't know. Particularly the little things that like jump off of it. Those are like weird spider ant things that look like they're something out of a video game.
It's just interesting because Pacific Rim, I mean, it had a lot of monsters of varying designs, so I thought that there was no problem for me from Pacific Rim in terms of its monster design. I mean, they're all pretty much bipedal, but there was like a monkey. There was sort of like it's like an ape-like one. There was one with like a giant like shark fin head. There was a lot of visual variety. So anyway, sort of they're in costumes. Okay, so we all understand that they're in costumes. But what I find people always kind of like complaining about, and I even made this complaint before about these movies, is that like, oh, it's not a good movie because they have like lip syncing and those are people in costumes. But it's like, to me, I mean, I don't think they're not going to recast an entire group of people just to remake a movie. They did that with Power Rangers, which is all.
You're talking about like the Japanese Godzilla movies that they then play in the U.S. with a dub.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like even that's kind of okay, and part of the campiness of those movies is that they don't have perfect lip sync. Okay, whatever. I mean, it's like it's all sort of fun. It doesn't take it takes itself seriously, but I feel like the people who were making it knew what they were getting into. which the first Godzilla movie seemed like it had like a message and was trying to be a little more serious, but then kind of they realized that I don't know what they realized, but maybe they thought that these movies are just supposed to be about fun and be more just kind of exciting and like a thrill movie sort of.
Well, that's what happens, right? Like you have this great idea for this really interesting political statement piece. It's kind of artsy, and then when it makes a ton of money, the studios jump on it and decide to make it into a franchise.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's done very well for Godzilla.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just it's almost sort of like a little bit of like a soap opera, because it's like Godzilla's fighting Rodan, and then then Rodan and Godzilla have to team up with baby Mothra to kill Ghidorah, and
Yeah,
Look at you go, man, go.
and then these people are doing whatever. They're like, oh no, they have to work together to kill this monster, even though they're worst enemy rivals.
yeah, but it's kind of like watching a James Bond movie. It's like, well, now James Bond's going to fly off to this place, and he's going to meet the attractive woman, then they're going to fly somewhere else. Oh no, James Bond got captured. I hope he escapes and gets back to the attractive woman. Oh,
That's right.
He did. It's time to kill that dude.
Right, and I guess so it's like this isn't supposed to be like a really serious, like dark, like American action movie. This is, I don't know. I don't even know like how to kind of like compare it to like American cinema, because it just feels completely different. It just doesn't feel like anything that we have. Well, maybe it's kind of like Big Trouble in Little China. You know, it's kind of like a movie that has like action comedies. I feel like the action comedy isn't really like.
Well, it's like a rom-com. Rom-coms are very formulaic.
Right.
Or sports movies. Sports movies are the American monster movie. That's a hefty statement right there.
Maybe action movies.
Okay, so the real question here is: do you think that there can ever be like a funny monster movie in America? Like, because they made Pacific Rim, Godzilla 2014, and Godzilla 2000. Do you think anyone would ever like I forget how to say his name. Guillermo del Toro, the guy who did Pacific Rim, said that he would do Godzillaverse, or like a Godzilla Pacific Rim crossover movie. Do you think that we'd ever get into a space where we'd have like
I think if we did it, it's going to be Pacific Rim style, where it's more like apocalypse porn than it is campy fun time, yay.
Right. What I'm saying is, could we ever have both?
I don't think so. I don't
think so.
I'm interested to see how Batman versus Superman goes, because it could go in that direction, but based on the casting, I don't think it's going to.
And I mean, to be fair, Guardians of the Galaxy, it's a pretty fun actiony movie. So
outlier.
Would you count the Lego movie? Where would the Lego movie fit into this?
Ooh, Lego movie though.
This is a question. I don't know. Like, I saw that and I thought it was really good.
Yep.
So,
I mean, I'd put that as an action comedy.
Okay.
That's true. That's true. Also, my mom did not like that movie at all. She couldn't follow it. She didn't get it. Yeah, but my dad and I loved it.
Oh yeah.
I'm wondering
Sarah's
if it's
right too.
Oh, Monsters Inc. Good point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is there a no? I was like, is that a winky face? No, it's just a regular face. Cause
it's just
that doesn't count.
That totally counts.
That's a Pixar movie.
Well, Pixar movies are also kind of a formulaic, campy, funny thing.
But it's not a monster movie.
It's
a movie about monsters, but it's not a monster movie.
Fair. Real quick, can somebody in the Q&A let me know if Sean shows up full screen when he talks? We're having some weird technical difficulties, and I hate to break the fourth wall like that, but
I already did it. I want to see weird monsters. Show me your weird monsters, kids. The 2 or 3 of you that are watching.
Right.
Yeah, tell us if Sean is showing up, and then tell us weird monster movies that we should check out.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to move on to another topic, particularly his topic, if we're not going to be able to see him while he talks. But yeah, I think monster movies are also kind of this like acquired taste thing. I know Sean, you had me read.
Death
What was
Race
it?
2000.
Oh, Death Race 2000 is a
Death
really
Race
good example.
2000. Death Race 2000.
Death
Where
Race,
does that fit?
Is
Death
that
Race
Grindhouse?
2000 is
That-
it's somewhere between like Grindhouse, MST3K. It's out there. Definitely watch it. It's usually on Netflix.
Yeah. It's like culty. It's really funny.
I would say that MSTK 3000 does enhance the movies, especially the Gamera movies, which are more often than not a little bit drier than the Godzilla ones.
I've not yet watched a full MST, but I really want to.
If you weren't aware, Gamera is a giant space turtle that flies through the air with by sucking in his legs, and fire comes out of them.
Nice.
Pyrotechnics, real life, practical effects. You have to at least give them credit for that.
That's true. That's true.
Thanks, Daniel and Michael.
Yeah. Thanks, kids.
And
So-
Sarah for your comments.
Yeah, Sarah, that was Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way, that you were
Mhm.
referring to. Oh, The Host.
Oh, okay.
That's a good example.
I
That
don't
was
know what that is,
leaking
and that's
into
my
us.
girlfriend who tweeted that. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh no, it sounds like
You're in
she's pushing
trouble.
up to Stephanie.
You
You're in
have to
trouble.
watch it.
Date night.
Yeah. I don't know. I still don't think Sean's screen is working right. But no, Sean made me read a book a while ago called Punk Rock Zen and Monster Movies,
Oh,
or Hardcore Zen,
yeah.
which was about a guy who was in the hardcore scene and then moved to Japan to work for the studio that makes Godzilla and got really into Zen Buddhism. And it was really cool from the Zen perspective, but also to hear about what it was like to work in that studio on these Godzilla movies. Because he was there in like the 80s and 90s when it was already peak camp Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
The Host
Godzilla
has
versus
an
Space Godzilla.
Wait, who said that?
Brad Warner. Brad Warner is his name.
Yeah. I'll link to that book in the show notes. It's a really good book.
It's a pretty good book. I own 2 copies probably. Floating
Definitely
somewhere.
worth your time.
The Host has an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes, just so we know.
Wow.
Yeah, it was another book by the author of Twilight, and it was made between the first 2 Twilight movies, if that tells you anything.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. So, are we pretty much done with monster movies? Do we want to move on?
Yeah.
I made all the jokes on
Well,
them.
let's go to mine so that we can still talk about monsters.
There
I
you go.
agree. That's where I was
We can
going to
segue
go.
and go to monsters. Okay, everybody. So my topic this week was it's a music video new by the band called Royal Blood. The song is called Out of the Black. It's it was on NME was when I first saw it. I've been listening to the band for a little bit now because it's only their first CD, but they'll be at Bunbury. Shameless plug. We'll be at Bunbury. Shameless plug. But they did this really cool thing that I haven't seen in a while. They used the animators from Adult Swim cartoon called Super Jail, and there was this particular style. It's like really bloody and gory and blowing up things and all kinds of craziness, and it deals with aliens and monsters and stuff. And I want to talk about it because I thought, oh, it's cool that they're going to be at Bunbury, but it's also cool that they're kind of monstery and the animation is cool. So, yeah, I guess I wanted to ask. I mean, my questions were like, did you guys like the style and the storyline, or do you think it was just dumb?
I thought this video was awesome. I sent this out to a few of our repeat viewers, and if you want to watch it, the link is on our Facebook page, Dudes Brunch Podcast. Maybe like watch it at half volume while we talk about it, or pause us and go watch it because it's awesome. The plot line is basically that a gas station gets held up by a dude in a bunny suit, and then the dude in the bunny suit turns out to be a super powerful alien instead of a dude, and just insane amounts of gory animated violence ensue. The song is really, really great. I listened to the album at work this week and felt really awesome because it's super get pumped music, and I just really, really dug this. I think it was great. And it's the sort of thing that could really only be made like right now with all of these monster and destruction movies in the theaters. I think it's a nice kind of comment on that.
What do you
Sarah
think,
really
Tyler?
liked it as well.
That's right.
What do you think?
Uh,
Did you
oh,
watch it?
Oh, yes, of course I watched it. I listened to the album a few times as well. I was disturbed, but I think that's kind of what we wanted to get out of the video, because I've seen Super Jail like maybe once or twice, and I was like, this is too much for me.
I like Super Jail. I thought it was a pretty good show, honestly.
I mean, nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it at all. I'm not like commenting on the animation quality or anything, because that's all. I don't know. I thought it was a little weird when they kind of switched between the animation and then the live action. I felt some of the switching in and outing was a little awkward, but I mean, it doesn't matter. I thought it was cool.
I thought there was a lot of like, I don't know. There's a lot of different stuff that like kind of really rang with me. I don't know. I thought it was weird when I first saw it on NME because it was just about the first time that I saw it was just about the time that the Ferguson trial results about what's his name had been let out, and there was this like fervor of like police violence and violence against the police and backlash and all this stuff. I don't know. I think that's why I kind of asked my second question. Like, do you ever think you'll see this video on regular television? Because
No.
No.
I mean, Super Jail's on TV.
Yeah, but Super Jail doesn't really have like police heads being blown up by an alien in a bunny suit either.
I would say that wasn't really necessarily even the point of the video, was that they were blowing up cops. It was just
Right.
a byproduct of robbery.
It kind of reminded me of District 9 too, a little in the beginning. You know, when you have the aliens that live in they live in their own city, right? In the beginning, it's like really quick, and then there's like an X-File-y kind of show to it, and then the bunny kind of reminds me of Blink-182. You know, like there just seems to be a lot of stuff. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of stuff kind of going on in this video. You know, that it just seems like I'm figuring out the more and more that I watch it, which is kind of why I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But in regards to the band themselves, I actually really liked it. Like I said, I listened to it a few different times, and the two-man setup is really awesome, especially since he plays a bass.
I know, I wasn't expecting.
And so, you know, I think most people when they listen to bands or whatever, like you can barely hear like the bass at all. Like you have to really kind of like listen for bass, unless it's like a really active bass and they're like slapping that bass, you know, Red Hot Chili Peppers or whatever, you know. But no, I didn't even know that was even possible, like what they were doing. And I watched the video that you posted about how they get like the sound. I wasn't sure what exactly was going on, but all I knew was that it was a cool thing that was happening, and it seems like a newer innovation in recording technology.
Yeah. Greg texted me the other day and said, "Have you heard of Royal Blood?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, dude. Love those guys." So I think he's pretty excited to see them too. But the first time that I watched that video with the double pedal thing, I was like, dude, we could have been doing that the whole time. Like, we had all that gear in Greg's basement, and we never ever did it, and it sounds so good.
So basically, viewers, what they did was you can run a bass or a guitar through two pedals to split it off into a bass amp and a guitar amp. And it's like playing a bass guitar and a regular electric guitar on unison parts together as one person, which allows them to sound like a three-piece band when they're only a two-piece band. Very cool. The making of video is on the link on our Facebook, and it'll be in the show notes as well. Good point from Sarah saying that the video is a lot like Kill Bill because it alternates between animation and real life. I think that's a great example. And I hate when people see animation real life movies and immediately like jump to Space Jam and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like
I wasn't even thinking about those.
that's such a corny way of doing that, and I think that this is a much more interesting approach that I think does more for the narrative than either of those did. I also just don't like Who Framed Roger Rabbit at all. So
What about The Wall?
The Wall, yeah, The Wall
That was a good music
point too.
video. Kind of music movie.
I actually had a shit. Who made Kill Bill? I'm sorry.
Tarantino.
Tarantino.
Yeah. I actually had a Tarantino marathon with my girlfriend about maybe it almost been close to a year ago. We for some reason didn't get to Kill Bill, but I mean after watching like 3 or 4 movies of his, you're like, okay.
Did you watch Jackie Brown?
No.
Okay, I was just curious. If you've seen Jackie Brown, I'm curious if other people think. It was my least favorite of all of his movies.
Yeah.
Well, it's his first one. It's like watching Bottle Rocket and expecting it to be a Wes Anderson movie. If you haven't seen Bottle Rocket,
it isn't his style though. I gotta say, when I watched it, I was like, this is definitely Quentin Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
But I just was like, okay, the story just seems to be lacking compared to the rest of the movies.
I thought you were saying that Bottle Rocket was like Tarantino. It's like, oh.
Uh,
Wes Anderson went in a different direction, I see.
No, Bottle Rocket just feels like a generic Hollywood movie, or like indie would.
They should team up though. That's a good point. I would love to see a Wes Tarantino movie or a Quentin Anderson movie. That would be pretty damn cool. Have this awesome color palette and this like really rich storyline with like it's like like Grand Budapest, but like but everybody smokes and there's like lots of pointless dialogue,
And everyone dies.
And everyone dies.
I think this video kind of had that Tarantino approach to violence as well, like really watered down fake blood so it gets everywhere, and just so much kung fu style violence, like more kung fu style violence than your body has room for. I don't know. It's cool to see that like outside of a Tarantino movie and handled in a slightly different way.
That's why I like this. That is cool. It was a cool music video.
I took a look at the lyrics to Out of the Black, and I was like, wait a second, is there like some domestic violence going on in this song? And upon reading, I was like, no, it's a little bit more than that. But if you're not paying attention, it certainly does sound like it. Sounds like he's like pistol whipping the girl, but it's not.
My favorite, like one of my favorite lyrics I heard this week was actually in this song. It's in the chorus when he says, "My mouth is a gun. I've got a bullet with your name on it." Like, oh, it's so cool. It's an intense.
I just like the opening. I love the opening. When I watched them play that live, when I posted that live music video on there, I was like, how does he play that on drums? And I just love that part. I had it from the opening.
And I think that's what makes it work so well, is that I'm willing to forgive a lot of things if there's like some active drumming, or there's like there's like a groove, like really like sweet like guitar like riff going on, and pretty much their entire album is interesting drumming parts and nice groove. So I'm like, it's good. He's good.
Yeah, it's got the same thing going for it that oh shoot, I can think of the album cover, but I can't think of the band. It's another band that Sean showed me. New Low. Who does that song?
Oh, Middle Class Rut.
Yeah, it's got that Middle Class Rut feel to it, which is also a two-piece guitar and drums band. Yeah.
Well, it used to be. Now they have more players. So, because just to make it sound fuller, and it sounds good. I like it with more players. I don't discredit. I saw them when they were 2 people. It sounded cool, but with fuller sound, it sounds a lot better. So, they didn't lose anything with it. Do it works. Are you guys excited to see him at Bunbury?
Well, now I'm.
Something that we're gonna be going and seeing.
Oh, we're totally going to see that.
Did you see how? Okay, I don't know if you guys read anything else about them, but they're really big in England, and I'm surprised that they haven't caught on in a huge way over here, because I think their sound is really good. Like they can kind of hit all of the. I think they could get in that all rock genre that you can find something in them if you like metal, if you like punk, if you like, alternative. I think you can find something in these guys to like.
I mean, this is their first album, right?
Yeah.
So, give it time.
I just don't think they're playing with the styles that are really in right now. Which are like either, because the way I'm looking at it, there are like 3 key alt styles right now. There's the 80s synth poppy style that you're getting from like Passion Pit and Temper Trap and people like that. There's
AFI's new albums like that too.
There's like the jangly like Group Love, Ballpark Music, Edward Sharpe, like kind of psychedelic but not really stuff. And then there's the hardcore
sounds like classic
Americana
rock
blues stuff that you're seeing with Arctic Monkeys, Band of Skulls, Jack White, that thing. And I just don't think that Royal Blood or Blood Red Shoes or bands like that fit into those types at the moment, which is why we're not seeing them everywhere.
What's funny is that most people would probably just assume those are all the same genre and sound.
It's true. Alternative is kind of something that people are just like, oh yeah, I like alternative. And then they never clarify that, which is fine if you don't listen to a whole lot of music. But I read that in a certain way as somebody who's spent a lot of time with music, where I'm like, okay, nice. But what kind of alternative do you like? Do you like Jimmy Eat World? Do you like Alt J? Do you like St. Vincent? Those are all alternative, and they're all really different.
Yeah. Which years of the Smashing Pumpkins do you find yourself relating to the most?
But I mean, that's like, what do you listen to? Well, I listen to everything but rap and country. So you listen to WEBN. Cincinnati joke.
Oh, look at us being hometown relevant.
The Ugly Frog, yeah! What's the dude's off Park and Recreation?
Oh, I was just watching that show before we got on here. Crazy Ira and the Douche.
Yeah, that's what WEBN is. It's Crazy Ira and the Douche.
Okay, so I think that's as good a segue as any to talk about my topic, which is also music related. I want to talk about concerts and audience participation and behavior at concerts. So I sent around the Dan Deacon Tiny Desk concert, which we'll link in the show notes, and I think it's on our Facebook. It's also just really easy to Google. And basically, Dan Deacon is a sort of psychedelic DJ guy who did a Tiny Desk, which is a concert series that takes place in the National Public Radio offices. But he manipulates crowds when he plays, and so he like tells them to do weird things, like, okay, everybody make a circle, and we're gonna have a dance-off over here. Or when Drew saw him at Bunbury 2 years ago, he said, okay, I want you all, when the beat drops, to run through that crowd of people that are waiting in line for food and just yell at them. So he's like notorious for doing these sorts of things to screw with audience and like the audience performer barrier. And I really like that. I think that's a really cool thing to do. I love that when Matt and Kim do stuff like that a lot. I've seen Blink-182 do that a few times. I just think it's really interesting, and so I wanted, first of all, your guys' thoughts, best like audience participation demeanor that you've seen at a show.
It's like being interviewed by Nardwuar.
It is like being interviewed by Nardwuar.
Except it's 300 people.
Yeah. So what about you guys? Like, what's your best story like that? Was there a show that you've been to that was like that?
The year was 2011, and we were at the Warped Tour, and there was a band there named The Gallows, and they had the biggest circle pit I've ever seen. And Tyler was there, and I think he got caught up in it, and to this day they still do it. I saw a video of them, their concert from last summer.
Is it bad that I completely forgot about my best concert experience of my life?
That was crazy. That was arguably the scariest concert I've ever been to.
Where it was fucking thunderstorm, rain, the guy's in the middle, he's like, alright, biggest fucking circle pit, oh Cincinnati, And he's singing in the middle. Everyone's running around him. There's fat kids in tank tops just flying all over the place. Lightning in the background.
It was crazy. That was probably the craziest show experience I've ever had.
Tweet us your crazy show experiences, and we'll talk about them on air.
I'm so sad that they got rid of Frank. Or actually, they didn't get rid of him, but he's not in the band.
The new guy is good. Their new album is better than the first album.
It doesn't feel the same. It's not the same for me. But you're allowed to have your opinion, I'll have mine. I just like Frank.
He was good. They were both good.
So my two favorite concert moments, one of them has to do with Tyler and getting sucked into a pit, and the other one doesn't. So I'll show the other one first. The second time I saw Blink-182, which was on the Honda Civic tour in 2011, there were these girls down front, and apparently they were at the top of their lungs screaming this improvised song that Tom DeLonge wrote years ago called Blue Job, and they were like singing it at him. And finally, he just got like upset, and he was like, "Okay, fine, we'll play it." And he just played the song for them. And then 2 songs later, they're singing it again. And he's like, "No, I sang your song. You have to stop. You have to stop. Everybody boo these girls because they need to stop." And he was kind of being a dick, but at the same time, it was like, yeah, like, you derailed the whole set and then tried to start it again? No, let's collectively boo you, and it'll be great.
I mean, it's Tom DeLonge.
Yeah, and it's a Blink show. Like, they do that kind of stuff. Somebody threw sunglasses at him during the first time I saw them, and he wore them for the rest of the set. Like, so that's kind of cool. But then,
do you guys remember Bunbury, the year that they had, we were watching Gaslight Anthem? They had those huge Beats balls, and they were going all around, and Greg was standing in the middle of us, and right when it came over, we like spread out so Greg could get it, and that guy came out from behind him and like knocked it out from his fingers like as soon as he was going to touch it, and he just had this like horrible wet cat face, like, oh.
Viewers, Greg is really short. You'll see at Bunbury this year if you come that Greg is really short.
Also, Bob O'Reilly, that closer for Gaslight Anthem.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Always
totally raged on Bob O'Reilly. So, I drove all the way to Indianapolis on a weeknight a couple summers ago and found a tiny little public park in the suburbs of Indy with Tyler Reed and friends to see Matt and Kim. I had seen Matt and Kim once before, and I think one other person with us had seen them once before, but Tyler had never seen them before, and neither had a few other people. And a Matt and Kim show is one of the liveliest shows you can go to because they go all out. On our Facebook is one of their new videos that shows some concert footage, but it doesn't do it justice because they're talking to you the whole time and screwing with you. And they'll like play popular club hits or like other rap songs and get out on the front of the stage and dance with you between songs. And so they were getting ready to play, I forget what it was, something fairly fast, and Kim just like gets on the mic and she's like, "All right, now you guys haven't been dancing, and I'm tired of that, so it's not raining, you need to start dancing." And when they start playing this song, Tyler tries to start dancing and almost hits this dude's girlfriend. And so dude shoves Tyler, which inadvertently opens up a pit in the middle of this Matt and Kim show in a public park with people's children. And I'm like in the pit because I'm standing next to Tyler, never been in a pit before. Tyler's just like going to town and like practically punching children. And it was, I mean, raging. And so all of that's going on, and Kim gets out on the crowd and stands on their hands and does her booty dance thing that she does. And they make, did they do the balloon thing where they have you inflate balloons at that show? Yes, they have you inflate balloons, and then at the start of one of the songs, you throw them all back at them and stuff like that.
What if you don't know how to blow up a balloon?
Then you're supposed to give it to somebody around you who does.
Okay, I don't know how to blow up a balloon.
We can teach you. It's not that hard.
Okay.
But the other part of the Matt and Kim show is that at every Matt and Kim show, there's a hashtag. Hashtag Kim's dating service. And the way Kim's dating service works is you tweet in the person that you saw at the show that you want to hook up with afterwards, and then she retweets it from the Matt and Kim account so that you can find each other and presumably go have a wonderful evening. And my friend Jake, who had never been to one of these before, was boogieing down in his hipster outfit of khakis and a purple V-neck. And I'm in the car on the way home. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning because we had to drive really far back, scrolling through Twitter, and I'm like, hey, Jake, you're going to want to see this. And I pass him the phone, and he like busts out laughing. And it says, I would totally tap that dude in the purple shirt with the foxy ass. And so then we called him Foxy for months afterwards, and it was great. Like, that's the kind of concert experience I love, where the whole crowd is willing to like make idiots of themselves, and the band is in on it too, and it's just a trip. I really enjoy it, and I think that concerts are a lot more fun when everybody's engaged. And I don't know, I used to be one of those people who went to shows with like the unwritten rule book in my head of like, you must stand this far apart from people, and like this is how you jump, and this is how you like headbang and fist bump and all of these things, because there is like the set of unwritten concert rules, and I don't know, I've given up on that. What do you guys think?
Once you once you come to terms with the fact that you dance like a white person, your life can truly begin.
Speaking of that, NPR, the stupidest place to have dance contests on earth. Because if I wanted to see 120 of me looking around at one another and just being like awkward salmon, like Tiny Desk concert. That's why they bring like folk acts in there, because they yeah, like that was so frustrating. Like, you dance. Me? I wrote about dance once. I think I made an article about dance.
But look, those people participated.
Yeah, they
participated as much as a white person can participate in a celebratory dance exercise.
So, I mean, I grew up going to shows with you guys. Did you have the whole like concert rule book in mind when we were going to these shows? And like, I feel like people who are new to concerts especially either have no idea how to behave or try and follow all of these rules, and I don't know. What was your approach?
Of course everyone's really super fucking awkward in the very point at your first concert. You don't know what to do. I think there was just a point when I just got tired of being like concerned with what people thought of me, and so I just did whatever I wanted. I mean, I'm still probably not going to be a person that's going to like go into the pit. I'm also probably not going to go to concerts with pits very frequently. But I mean, I'm going to dance however I want to dance. Oh, I know what happened. I know where it was. When I started going to If I Ever See You Out of Town concerts, which is my friend Daniel and Ryan's old band, which they have a new band, but when there's like 5 people at this concert, and you want to build the hype train, I'm not just gonna sit there. You gotta build the hype. You gotta dance. You gotta just do it. Doesn't matter.
I've done lots of Father's shows.
Yeah.
I will be that guy. I will be that drunk idiot in the front of being like, I love you! You're the greatest man on earth!
Sean is also the guy at Father shows who yells, what does Luke even do in this band?
What do you do? What do you even do up there?
So I don't know that he's like a good role model for concert etiquette.
No, I have one rule about going to concerts that, well, I should say, okay, so I guess there is 2 different sets of rules. There's going to the concert with your girlfriend or significant other rules, and then there's going to the concert by yourself with your friends rules. going to the concert with your girlfriend is like, it's delicate. It takes planning. You put a lot of heart into it. You make sure you bring cash. You make sure you have a backup plan in case, when it inevitably fails. That's what I do. When I'm going to concerts alone, it's look out for number one. That's the only rule, and number one is me. So I don't want to get punched in the face. I want to get good drinks as cheap as I can, if not free, and preferably get in the concert for free. So, because I'm cheap.
Yeah, I think as I started going to more shows, I still want to make sure that like my group stays together if I go with a group. But there are certain types of shows where it's just like, okay, pick a meeting point for when it's over, and I'll see you guys in 2 hours. Like, we'll all ride to Waffle House together after this, but let's just rage.
Not against the machine.
Not against the machine.
Not against the
Tyler, concert rules?
I pretty much already laid it out. It's just about just doing whatever feels good. I'm not gonna put myself in danger. Hydrate, most important. Always hydrate, because if you're getting hype,
Yeah.
we better drink lots of water. I don't need booze to to get hype. None. It's nice. Listen, I like alcohol sometimes. It's good. It's good to, like, when you're sitting down, you have a nice casual, like going to a folk concert.
But sometimes the most party thing to do is be sober and rage like you've never raged before.
Right. And I'm gonna say this. So, get it. Matt and Kim, they're staying until 1. They don't want to go home at 1 a.m. But I can guarantee they're probably in bed by 11:30 every night. Because what are they gonna do? There's no way that they stay up to like 5 a.m. do a show after show after show. They're in shape, They're out there working it. So I bet they have a great regimen.
Oh yeah, when they were on tour with Blink-182 on the Civic tour for a while, Travis Barker would like tweet about him and Kim like counting their miles each day to see who ran the furthest. And Kim almost always outran him. Like, she is super fit. And Matt skateboards around the venue during soundcheck. Like, they're obviously not going out and partying. They're mostly working out or on the bus or doing the show.
We're also assuming, but...
I don't want to be a rock star anymore. There used to be something fun about that lifestyle, and now it's just what I do now, except you actually... Well, you still don't get paid, but... you get to play music. Maybe that's getting paid. I guess I just had to get paid.
You just had a moment of clarity, Sean.
Student loans are kind of really tough. That's what I'm trying to say.
Don't
go to college, kids.
Don't go to college. Start a punk rock band.
Exactly.
But I want to talk about Dan Deacon. Dude, that was tight. I really like that guy's stuff, like, a lot. It spoke to me.
The thing with the piano was cool. I gotta say, when that first started being automated, I was like, oh, this is neat. I want to see how he does that in real life.
Yeah, he seems like a super interesting guy. I would love to watch more of his live performances. I just haven't had time. And I'm mad that I missed him at Bunbury 2012.
I think it's actually important that we also saw them, like the Royal Blood and Dan Deacon, like, live in their performances, because I think that makes such a bigger impact onto what they do. Like, if you just listen to that, it's kind of like, okay, whatever, You don't see how it's made. It's kind of like KT Tunstall was like a one-woman band in like 2009 with her big black horse, the cherry tree. I forget what that song was.
That's what it was called.
Yeah, and she was like had like a tambourine that she stomped on and had like a bunch of pedals, and I was like, this is legit.
In the same way, I think I'm really interested in Mumford & Sons because I've seen them do live performances, and in between songs, they just like set everything down and rotate instruments like it's a cakewalk. which I think is kind of cool.
I mean, that speaks to a lot of their musicianship. I mean, you could say whatever about Mumford and Sons, but I mean, they did something interesting at the time. They started a grassroots revolution. So I know we're probably over them at this point.
Who are those guys?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, at the time, it was pretty cool.
I agree. Well, I think that pretty much does it for us. We really flew through the hour this week. Let's do some shameless plugging, starting with Sean.
Hey everybody, check out my Tumblr blog, still going on, and my Twitter account. I have 3 followers, 2 of them are right here, and one of them is some random person probably. Thanks, Twitter bots. I really don't feel important, guys.
You gotta make the hashtags.
Okay.
You gotta hashtag it.
I'll try.
You gotta follow Gary V. That's how
Gary
you get random followers.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll get randos, but I don't know if they're the followers you want.
No.
Tyler, shameless plugs.
Well, I made the bold statement that I was going to complete 1 T-shirt a week.
Oh yeah, where is that?
That did happen. I decided I had to do adult stuff today.
Ooh.
I know. I'm disappointed too. But draw me like one of your graphically reduced French girls should be, hopefully, is going to be up next week. But for right now, Prodigal Vampire Prince is still on Threadless for voting. It's chugging pretty hard. It's got like 90 votes. It's got like 3 days left, where usually I'm at like 100, 120 something votes. So if you like vampire bat juxtapose on fancy person, you should go vote for that on Threadless. Otherwise, it's just
Plug Daniel's band. We mentioned his band, but we didn't talk about it.
They actually don't have a Twitter. But on Facebook, they are L-O, the Loyal Conscripts. If I ever see out of town, it's no longer a band, unfortunately. But Lo should be putting out new music pretty soon. Hopefully, I'll be doing some work for that. Now we have to.
Yeah, we said it on the podcast. It's gonna get that dude's brunch bump. They're gonna see so much traffic.
So much traffic.
Are they playing shows, Tyler?
Let me check out.
While you're doing that, I will do my shameless plugs. I wrote a piece on Medium this week. I said I would, and I did it. Talking about 2 new apps, Meerkat and Twirls. I want to play with Meerkat with the Dudes Brunch dudes. So follow me on Meerkat if you have it. I think Tyler and I have decided that we're going to do some live coverage of things like Bunbury with it, so that you'll be able to watch us talk about things between sets and tweet at us and stuff like that. Also, still planning the Bunbury meetup, so get your tickets for Bunbury, and we'll all go to sets together, and it'll be fun. And since we also mentioned them, I'm going to plug Fathers of the Revolution, my friends from Athens, who are also fronted by a guy named Daniel. Their single, Isabella, is on iTunes. Their album is hopefully coming out this May. And yeah,
you mean Luke isn't the front man for that band?
Yeah.
Surprisingly,
give some kid that credit. I've never seen anybody work eggs like that. Maybe a chicken.
Lucas Chaffin, credited with hyping egg shakers. Spoken word.
Lo and the Loyal Conscripts are going to be at Mad Frog on March 15th at 9 p.m.
There you go. Check them out at Mad Frog.
Check it out, kids.
If you know where Mad Frog is, I'm sorry.
It's in Cincinnati by the University of Cincinnati. So if you live there, check that out. I believe Wolfman, which is a Father's Side project, has a show this week. If they do, we'll post that for Athens viewers on our Facebook. Other than that, thanks for hanging out, everybody. It was a fun brunch. We will see you all next week. Sean, next week on Dudes Brunch, what are we talking about?
What are we talking about? Oh, I don't even remember. There was something I was... Oh, crap. I lost it. What, Tyler, is there something you want to talk about next week? We still have like a minute, so we're in good... Something interesting you want to talk about?
Pepper jack cheese.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, there you go. Next week on Dude's Brunch, pepper jack cheese.
Different
Does
types
it
of
have
pepper
a
jack
place
cheese.
in brunch, or is it more of a dinner cheese?
It's a hot topic.
Hey, thanks everybody.
Your Kingdom Hearts T-shirts, $24.99.
All right, we'll see everybody next week. Have a good one.